Welcome to more wow drama stories. OP writes, this happened a few months ago, but it was recently brought up again. My husband and I made it clear to guests that our wedding was child-free. I have a cousin with 8 kids, and a lot of our family/friends have 2 to 3 kids. The kids are generally good, so the main issue was cost. Our venue charges age 2 plus, the same as adults, which is $250 per person, including tax/tip. It would double the cost, and our venue wasn't big enough for all the kids. We wrote this on our website and clarified with anyone who asked, and everyone asked. We got a lot of grief over this, so we felt a fair compromise was to 1. Extend the dinner the night before to include kids, and the restaurant was very nice about having close to 100 kids. 2. Hire 5 babysitters for 25 to 30 kids on the wedding night for locals who couldn't find a babysitter last minute, and for guests who traveled with their kids. My in-laws offered their home less than 30 minutes away to host all the kids. On the wedding day, 3 couples showed up with their kids, a total of 9 kids. 2 plus 3 plus 4 kids. My husband was more upset than I was because these folks were on his side. Groomsmen offered to drive the kids to the house, but they refused and made a scene. My husband was called to handle it, and he said fine, as long as A, the kids don't cause trouble, and B, the parents pay the per head for the kids. They can stay. The staff even quickly threw together a kids' table. I saw that unfolding and avoided it, and went about the day since it was a beautiful day and so much was happening. When the ceremony started, one kid started wailing and another skipped down the aisle in front of me. I played it cool and the staff was on top of it. They escorted the mom and the 2 kids outside. The rest of the ceremony went smoothly. During the reception, the same 2 kids were screaming and throwing food. Other guests and staff were trying to get them to sit. At one point, one kid went under my dress, which was so effing weird. I didn't notice and almost tripped. The bridesmaids pointed out that the food they threw got on my dress, and that's when I had enough. I gave my husband the look, and he rounded up the kids, brought them to the parents, and asked them to leave for good. After the event, and this is where we might be the a-holes, we sent a bill to the 3 couples with a letter saying we had a lovely time with them and reminding they agreed to pay for the uninvited kids. 2 couples paid and were apologetic and even said now they understood why we couldn't include the kids. Of course, the couple with the 2 rowdy kids refused to pay because we asked them to leave before cake. Seriously. Instead of apologizing, we got a nasty call. All I said was they should be lucky I didn't send the dry cleaning bill for the dress. My husband even said this concludes their friendship. This weekend, they wanted to visit, and we said no thanks. They asked if we were still mad about them not paying, and yeah, we are. Am I the a-hole? Wow, OP, the audacity of not just 1, not 2, but 3 couples showing up with their kids after you made all these arrangements, after you went above and beyond, and they still didn't care. That is very disrespectful, not only of you and your groom, but also of those people that did comply and didn't bring their children to the wedding. But let's see what other people have to say about this. Someone writes, not the a-hole. At a minimum, stand the ground on ending the friendship. They didn't respect you or your husband on a day where you were supposed to be celebrating your love. But I would resend the bill and add the dry cleaning fee as well. You will never get it, and it's not like the friendship is salvageable anyhow. Someone else writes, This is exactly why it's almost never worth accommodating entitled people who choose to go against agreed on conditions. They will just continue imposing until they sit on your head. Far easier to stop it in the very beginning. They won't be any more offended than if you drag it out, but you will save yourself time, money, and aggravation. Someone else writes, not the a-hole. How obtuse do they have to be when your husband tells them that their behavior has ended the friendship and they still don't get the affront they caused and want to visit? In fact, I would send another invoice and include the dry cleaning and include a note about how their behavior cost you a lot more money, damage to your dress, and stress because of how they allowed their children to behave on a day that should have been all celebration on principle alone. They won't pay it, but at least they might begin to get a clue. If they still don't pay it, then take them to small claims court. This is only to recoup your losses. If you are successful, then you at least have your money back. Hopefully too, if a judge sided with you, the validation in the judgment will cause them to think again. Probably not given the degree of entitlement they displayed, but it's worth a shot. If the friendship is really over, it shouldn't matter to take them to court. Someone asks, why did these couples not take advantage of the sitter, and why did your husband allow them to stay? OP replies, good question. From what I understand, they all arrived at the same time, and the staff did stop them from entering. One couple has a kid with disabilities, and their babysitter got COVID, so they didn't feel comfortable leaving them with the babysitters we hired. We were even understanding about their situation, but they never said anything about it, and decided to go the ask for forgiveness route. The other two couples took advantage of this and pressured my husband and his groomsmen to make an accommodation for everyone. Since these were family and friends he cared about and he wanted to get back to the rehearsal, he told them fine, but keep the kids in check and to pay for the unexpected bill. Seemed reasonable enough. Someone else writes, not the a-hole. It was pretty darn clear what the restrictions were, and they proved the point on why you had those restrictions in place. Your husband is also right. If friends willfully do something like that and refuse to square up after the fact, that sounds like they're not very good friends at all. It's on them to smooth it over. Someone else comments, I would have been done after the aisle skipping. My brother is getting married in September and they want no kids. I had to reassure them that I was not upset. I understood and agreed with the reasons why, that it was their day and their choice and my job was to fall in line. Someone else says, it doesn't even matter why the restrictions were in place. It was not their event and not their call. Frankly, all three couples were unforgivably rude and should have been kicked right out. And another person writes, not the a-hole. As a parent, I will never understand people who bring their children where they are not wanted. Props to you and your husband for having each other's backs. You for having a cool head on your wedding day. Someone else says, not the a-hole. Wow, I would be livid. The amount of entitlement of all the parents who bought their kids after being told not to is pretty shocking. But the rowdy kids' parents take the cake. They let their kids skip down the aisle during the ceremony, ruined your dress, wouldn't pay, and now they expect an invite to your home? Just wow, they suck. Another person says, not the a-hole. I agree, they're ridiculous. Something I can't get over though is that the other two families were okay paying $750 and $1,000 respectively for their children to eat supper out. Honestly, I can't wrap my head around that. That's well over a month's worth of groceries for my family. Someone else says the following: not the a-hole. 1. You said your wedding was child-free and they ignored it. 2. You offered childcare and transport and they didn't want to know. 3. You accommodated their children despite points 1 and 2. 4. You tolerated a lot of bad behavior before asking them to leave. 5. You gave them time to make the agreed payment when you could have asked for it up front. You have been more than flexible. It sounds like you have plenty of family and friends who treated you with respect. The other 2 families at least paid up and had well-behaved kids, even though they were still hugely disrespectful on the day. The ones who haven't paid up aren't the sort of people you need in your life, though I suspect this may come as a surprise to them. Another person comments, not the a-hole. You were very clear and very accommodating. It's also baffling to me that the parents aren't mortified at the behavior of their children, which honestly is very telling of the behavior of the parents. You let them stay under the agreement that the children would behave and that they would pay for their attendance. The fact that they had to leave before cake because their children wouldn't behave isn't your issue. Not a friendship I'd be sad to see end. The disrespect and entitlement, insane. Let's get a final comment before we move on to story number 2. Not the a-hole, not at all. Not even a little bit. They knew it was a child-free wedding, and you already went above and beyond before the big day by hiring babysitters and incorporating them into the dinner the night before. Those parents deliberately showed up with their kids precisely to cause a scene. You gave them a gracious inch and they took a mile. The children were rude, disruptive, literal embodiments of why people have child-free weddings. The least they can do is pay for the children, which they expressly agree to, and the dry cleaning bill for your dress. The audacity. And on to story number 2. OP writes, I've had a few drinks and I'm extremely angry, so please don't judge my grammar. So I, 25 female, have 5 siblings. My oldest brother, 36 male, who I used to idolize, he recently got engaged, in my opinion, rather quickly after his divorce. 6 months. Tonight was his engagement dinner. I'm going to be honest as F here. I hate his soon-to-be wife, Amanda. She's a two-faced, fake witch that's obsessed with my brother's ex-wife. I went tonight because I loved my brother, and with all our family's comments about putting them in their place, I was going to try to keep it civil for my niece's sake. Well, shockingly, it was going well because my brother kept our grandmother and siblings away from Amanda by sitting me and my dad next to her. I tried to be nice. I used all my years in retail to help me channel my best polite, positive attitude, even though I wanted to tell this woman to go F herself. We got talking about their wedding, which is in July. It started off civil enough, till it got to the part my mom asked, would my nieces, 4, 5, and 8, be flower girls? They looked at each other, then my piece of crap brother answered and said, well, actually, we thought of having a late wedding, so we decided it would be best if it was child-free. Me in shock and a little drunk. How can you have a child-free wedding when you have kids? Amanda, well, they won't be coming because it wouldn't be fair to my friends or you guys. Me, which I wasn't asking you. I'm talking to my brother, their father. Brother, Opie, please don't call Amanda out of her name and calm down. We both agreed it would be inappropriate because the ceremony starts at 7 and we plan on partying into the night. Please, as my family, respect and support my decisions. If you can't respect my relationship or my future wife, I will ask you don't attend the wedding nor speak to me till you're ready to apologize. Me. Having a child-free wedding is complete BS. And guess what? People came here to make fun of you for your kids' sake. You know what? F you, F your wedding and your future wife. My grandmother then said, they always downgrade, don't they? He was running around with crap in his sack when he had a good woman at home. We all started laughing. Then my brother and Amanda started yelling. So everyone got in on it, and then we got kicked out of the restaurant. Now that I'm sobering up, I think I am the a-hole. People have told me, and my reasons for disliking Amanda and why my brother's kids not being invited to the wedding tipped me over the edge. Here's the reasons. Amanda is my ex-sister-in-law's friend. My brother has seen his kids a total of 10 days in the last year and a half. When his kid's uncle got into a crash, he wouldn't even let his kids stay with him when his ex needed to spend time with her 18-year-old brother, who passed away due to injuries. I had to step up for those kids when he should have. They talk crap on his ex when the woman is just trying to live her life. Amanda told my niece she was fat and boys won't like that. Also, they both called the ex-wife a bad mother when the girl stayed with us for a while after her brother's death. Wow, OP, it sounds like you didn't hold back at all and everybody else jumped in as well. Little wonder you got kicked out of the restaurant. But let's see what other people have to say. Someone writes, everybody sucks here. First, having a child-free wedding isn't a bad thing, but people usually understand only the bride and or groom's kids are the only ones who attend because it's their own kids. The rest though, the yelling in the restaurant, your brother's cheating. He clearly isn't a good father if he's only seen his kids 10 times in the last year. Amanda betrayed her friend, and the fact that they both talk bad about the children's mom to their faces. Yeah, everyone sucks here. Someone else writes, everyone sucks here, and everyone performed a standing ovation. But you for calling soon-to-be sister-in-law names when it sounds like both are making this a-hole decision? Brother for moving on so fast and not including his children? Her for excluding the girls from the ceremony? Someone else says, I'm going to go with everyone sucks here. You seem to have a lot of anger against your future sister-in-law, and to be fair, she is an a-hole for having an affair with her friend's husband, but your brother is the much bigger a-hole. He's the one who cheated and abandoned his children. You should be more upset with him. And honestly, you're the a-hole for going on a drunken tirade. You should have sat down with your brother another time and calmly expressed your concerns. It could have increased his chances of actually listening and taking you seriously. And your family are also a-holes for their snide comments. So yeah, everyone sucks here. Someone else suggests, leave Reddit alone for tonight, sober up and reread this tomorrow. Then maybe just delete it. Your backlog reasons for being upset with them seem valid-ish, but that convo was for another place and time. Ultimately, it's their wedding, so it's their decision on who attends or doesn't. Butt out. Regardless of your opinions or excuses, OP, you chose to show out at a really inappropriate time. I'm all for family discussions for a constructive purpose, as I'm very close to my immediate family, but don't air all that out at their engagement party, which was also in a very public forum. Yikes. I hope you can salvage your relationship with your brother after this fiasco. You are the a-hole. Someone else writes, everyone sucks here. You, because it is their wedding and they can do whatever they want. Groom and bride, because they are excluding their children/stepchildren. Who does that? They should be part of this memorable event for the family, even if only for the ceremony and pictures. Your family for their inappropriate and rude comments. If they thought this woman was a monster, they could have had an intervention alone, before the engagement party, and in private, not go, come here and make fun of you. So everyone sucks here. And let's get one last comment. You are the a-hole for how you handled it. Drunken rage was not the way. I've seen your edits and it's understandable why you are so angry, but blowing up the way you did has not done you any favors. Any attempts you or your family make from now on to fix things or help your brother to see the light, so to speak, will be undermined by your outburst. Your brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law will use it against you and the family. Things will only get harder from here. To this, OP replies, to be honest, he's a grown man and he can marry who he wants. So that's very interesting. It seems like OP sobered up and suddenly decides that yes, her brother can marry whoever he wants, even though she doesn't like the person. Well, that is it for now. If you like this and you'd like to hear more wow drama stories, then please give this a thumbs up and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. It really helps me grow my channel out a lot. And I'll see you again next time.